I'm on my way to work in my editorial office for the first time in 8 weeks. For the first time since the corona lockdown. But somehow, it is quiet on the streets. Even though we're allowed to move around freely, many are staying at home and working from there. The Parisians are probably afraid of the virus. I look back at 13th of March 2020. Lockdown. The coronavirus is spreading throughout France. Many people do not understand why, from one day to the next, they should no longer leave the house. My father and I are aware of the danger, because he is a doctor.
I still have to go to my practice. Patients who have the coronavirus come, and I have no protective equipment. That's impossible. The health authorities are supposed to protect us, and they have let us down. That's especially painful.
I'm worried. At 64, my father is in the risk group. To keep him safe at work, they put a program for remote testing on his computer. Every morning, he now sees his patients on the screen. Many are afraid they have the virus.
I think it's highly unlikely that you've become infected with the coronavirus.
The situation is different in hospitals. Friends of my father work in crowded intensive care units. The hospital staff also lack protective clothing. My father is upset that so many people are infected. Several doctors and nurses have died. Every evening at 8 p.m. sharp, applause for the doctors and hospital staff. Our neighbours want to show support for those who are risking their lives by fighting on the front line against the virus. During the day, all we can do is cook meals. For once, my girlfriend Hélène has come by. She lives with her parents and 3 siblings in a 40 square metre apartment, like many Parisians. The streets are emptier than ever. The Champs-Élysées are deserted. The death toll is rising and rising. Nevertheless, we try to maintain a normal rhythm of life, getting up early every morning. We celebrate my father's 65th birthday as best we can, to establish normality, even when nothing is normal anymore. And as much as I try to talk myself into accepting house arrest, I'm really feeling closed in. I have only one thing on my mind: to get out of Paris. I find an excuse to sneak out of town early in the morning. I want to visit my mother in the Alps. On the 600-kilometre drive, I see just 5 cars. I've never seen our country so empty. It's like a science fiction movie. After a 5-hour journey, I reach my destination. Despite the beautiful landscape, my mother is not doing well either. My grandmother is in an old people's home and she has not been allowed to visit her for weeks. She can only talk to her through the window.
Bonjour, maman.
Hello, Mom. I brought you flowers. I can't have physical contact with her anymore, but that is important to her. And I can't take care of her clothes anymore. Since the lockdown, I have not brought her any because I'm afraid I might be carrying the virus.
Back in Paris, my father now wants to see patients in his practice again under strict safety rules. But he has to get the masks and other protective equipment himself on the internet for a lot of money.
Patients are only allowed to come to the practice if they have an appointment. So no one is allowed to sit in the waiting room. The patients must disinfect their hands. Every morning we also have to clean the floors thoroughly.
11th of May 2020. After 8 weeks of lockdown and more than 25,000 dead, we take our first steps back into everyday life. Restaurants remain closed. Even if the lockdown is lifted, life will not be the same as before. We must be patient and learn to live with the virus. Because the existing restrictions have to take effect, and we all hope that a new corona wave will not occur.